Hey everyone, I'm going to try to get back into recording these videos for you all. When I was at this conference last week, I was pretty convicted on how I've not done a good job of equipping you leaders and helping you guys um, be better teachers, be better ministers of the gospel. And so I want to do a better job of that. And one way I think I can help you guys with that is to help even just provide you all with a little insight into the Sunday school lesson, just some thoughts that I think would be beneficial for us to use with students. But then also, I want to be able to send you guys articles or videos that I think could help you all as well. Also, what we're going to do this Saturday, we'll send an email out about it, but this Saturday we're going to have a cookout and like a small bonfire for all the leaders. So, no teenagers, so it'll be just leaders. That'll be nice. We'll be able to just sit and relax and enjoy our company with each other. I'm excited about it, so but you'll see an email about that, and just look at that and let us know if you can be there. Okay, hey, this week we are starting. Oh, real quick, this material is different than the other material that we had. This material, we get new material every semester, so like they are constantly producing new material. So what that means is you don't try to, if you miss a week, don't try to just start there and catch up, because then you're always going to be behind, because we'll always be trying to get ahead. Like I know the old lessons, they would have maybe 45 weeks, and so you'd have 7 weeks of ambiguity. On this, every week we'll have a lesson. So if you miss it, it's okay. We'll just move forward. And just, if you can, let's all kind of stay in the same place. So, for instance, this week we're in the Unit 3, Session number 1. Unit 3, Session number 1, where we are now in the story of um, Jacob and Esau and Isaac. And I think this lesson this week is a really good lesson for teenagers, as they are in a period of time in their life where they feel like they make a lot of mistakes, and there's no way that God could still want to use them, that God could still want them. And the truth is, when we look at the beginning of the people of Israel, that's anything but the truth, right? God does use broken people. So that's one thing that we see in the lesson. So what I'd like to do is just give you all just a little bit of insight on the lesson. Hopefully it can help you in your preparation, and we can go from there. So like we said, this is a story this week about Jacob and Esau and their father. If you know, their father is going blind and can't see very well, and Rebecca wants to make sure that Jacob gets the blessing, not Esau. So what does he do? He puts on, the skin of a goat, and he goes in and he, you know lies to his father and gets the blessing from the Lord. And it was, I mean, a lot of deception, um, and we would say not good deception, but then God ends up using it. And so um, what I want to see is a couple things I want us to focus on with students. Is one, we want to make sure that we see that sin does have consequences, like we saw that in Jacob's life. Jacob then had to be exiled because his brother was so angry he wanted to kill him. That he had to be exiled from his family for a little while, even though he still got the blessing of the Lord. And so, like, what I want us to see is that, first of all, that although God's prophecy was fulfilled through Jacob's actions, there are always repercussions for such ungodly behavior. And so that's even teenagers in this day and age. Look, God does use broken people. God does use us in our brokenness, but that doesn't mean that we don't have to deal with the consequences of our sin, of our choices. And so with that, that means that we've got to think before we act. We've got to think before we make decisions. Things now that could affect us for years to come. So we need to think about those. Even though, yes, God uses us in our brokenness, that does not do away with the fact that we still have consequences for our sin. So I think that's good. And then I asked this question: do you think Jacob was right in what he did? How could he have approached the situation differently? And I like this paragraph. It says, instead of relying on the Lord to fulfill the promise in his own time, in his own way, and through his own power, Rebekah and Jacob took matters into their own hands. They didn't even approach Isaac and try to reason with him. Though Rebekah and Jacob valued the blessing of God, they did not value the ways of God. And then it goes with this question: what are some examples in life where you've tried to do things on your own way, in your own time? This actually fits in well with what we talked about Sunday night with students. We talked about David while he was in the cave, and trying to make a decision: is this right here a time that God wanted me to take over and kill Saul in the cave and take over the land for myself? Or does God have another plan? And what we see is that God does have another plan. And so we've got to be able to practice patience, to trust that the Lord does have a plan and that His ways are better than our ways. And so I think we got to, show students that. In the commentary, I think one thing that is cool to point out to students is that, like we said, despite their failures, God still uses them. Like when we read, I feel like so often when we read the Bible, we look at Abraham, we look at Isaac, we look at Jacob, and we hear about them talked about all the time, but they weren't perfect people. Abraham told this ruler that his wife was a sister, so he didn't get killed. Isaac made mistakes. I mean, Jacob makes serious mistakes. I mean, we see all these things present in the patriarchs, but God still uses them to establish His kingdom, to establish the lineage of Jesus, and I think that's great. What we see is that in this commentary, I like the statement. It says that God delights in using the ordinary, the weak, and the flawed for His redemptive purposes. And in that, He receives all the credit and all the glory. See, Jacob was unworthy, Isaac was unworthy, Abraham was unworthy, and that's the point. We are all unworthy to receive God's blessings and to be used by Him. But for some reason, He wants to use us. He wants to use us. I heard it said one time by a pastor, an older pastor, a long time ago, and it says, God uses crooked sticks to make straight paths. And I think that's the beautiful part of the story, that God shows mercy to crooked people like you and I and uses us to make straight paths for His kingdom and for His glory. So I think that's something we can encourage our students with. Look, we're going to have consequences for our sin and our decisions that we make, but God is a merciful God. And despite our sin, He still uses us for His kingdom and for His glory. And that's good news. So I hope that's helpful for you this week. If you have any questions on that, just shoot me a text or an email. If you feel like this is beneficial, let me know too. And hopefully I can be with you guys some more. So love you guys. Have a good rest of the day.